Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be doing the chapter 2, which is principles of motivation and adherence. So yesterday I forgot to mention that I had made some computer notes as well, apart from my handwritten notes. So today I have those notes open in front of me along with the manual, 5th edition manual. So let's start this chapter. This chapter mainly talks about motivation and adherence, how to maintain these two, and what all factors are there which influence these two. Okay, and what are the leadership qualities in a trainer, and what types of feedbacks are there. This is a small chapter of around only 16 pages, so we'll be very with this video is not going to be a long video. Okay, so let's start this chapter, starting with motivation. In regards to exercise, motivation are of basically of three types: intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation, and self-efficacy. Intrinsic motivation is when the client they themselves enjoy doing exercise. Okay, they truly enjoy exercise and the pleasure and emotion and experience that comes from engaging into it. So that is something that is coming from within. Okay, and the extrinsic is which is dependent on external factors or external variables. Okay, like as a personal trainer you have to push your client, you have to show them some kind of goals, make goals or dreams or something like that. You have to allure them. Okay, so those are external things which comes from external factors. Third one is self-efficacy. It is basically one's own confidence in themselves. This is the most important factor in driving a client, okay, in driving their them towards their goal. So this is also important with respect to the exam. Okay, they have some of the other questions related to self-efficacy. Okay, so now coming to the next section, maintaining client's motivation. So there are several ways in which you can maintain the motivation of a client. Like social support, you have to understand what is the social support system which your client has in their family or friends. Okay, then fighting negative social influences. Do they have any kind of people who are not that fitness conscious or who are pulling back your client from doing exercises or demotivating them in some or the other way? You have to understand, you have to do that digging sessions in the starting, when you will be doing interviews and assessment. At that time you need to find out. Then assertiveness, self-regulation, and high risk situation. These three are also the reason behind maintaining a client motivation. Okay, then comes influences on adherence and participation. So there are three factors which influence adherence and motivation. This is important with respect to exam as well. So the three attributes or factors, whatever you would like to say, are: first is personal attributes, second is physical attribute, and third is environmental attribute or factors. So personal attributes comes with like demographic variables like age, income, health, not health, this knowledge, attitude, belief, all those things. Okay, these things directly proportional to motivation and adherence. Okay. Second is environmental factors like access to facility, time, and social support, in which the time is the most important factor behind maintaining the motivation levels, because you must have heard mostly from everyone that they don't have time, they are lacking time. Everybody has this reason of not having time. Okay, this is just a lame excuse not to do exercise, not to do their things at time, just to procrastinate things. Okay, so this is an important factor which influences the client's continuity. Okay, the third is physical activity attributes factors like intensity. What kind of intensity program you have designed for the client, because it has been seen that vigorous intensity plans have seen the most dropouts. Okay, and the last one is injury. Under this physical activity factors, injury is if the client has faced any kind of injury in the past or present, so that hampers their continuity of coming to the gym. That it hampers their it hampers their motivation and adherence. Basically, see, maintaining adherence is a very very difficult task. Okay, because pulling a client to start a program is something different, and making them continue the workout is altogether a different thing. Okay, so these both things require different strategies. So that is why this chapter is very important with respect to your practice. Okay, not from the exam point of view, you're not going to get many questions from this chapter, but from your practice point of view, this is very important. Okay, so now coming to feedback. Feedbacks are of two types basically: extrinsic feedback and intrinsic feedback. So what personal trainer gives is called extrinsic feedback. And I got a question in the exam for this extrinsic feedback. There is a order in which you have to provide the extrinsic feedback. First of all, when your client is working out in front of you, you have to provide reinforcement. Okay, like reinforcement with whatever they have done well, you have to appreciate that. Then you have to correct their errors, what was wrong in their posture or in their movement. Okay, you have to correct that. And the third thing is provide encouragement. So this is the order in which you have to provide the extrinsic feedback. So you might get a question in exam with jumbled up options and some wrong options also included with these three. So they'll ask you what is the correct order. Maybe they'll ask you, or what is the most appropriate form of providing extrinsic extrinsic feedback. Sorry. Then comes intrinsic feedback. Intrinsic feedbacks comes from what they feel, what they see, what they hear. Okay, and as the client progresses during the training period, with their training progression, the amount of intrinsic feedback starts to increase. When the clients join your sessions, take up the membership, at that time obviously their intrinsic feedback is not that strong. That is the reason they have come to take your services, they come to the gym. Okay, because they need external feedback. And as the training progresses, you have to understand that you have to reduce the amount of feedback that you started giving from the start of the program. Okay, so now comes the leadership qualities of the trainer. This is a very general and simple thing: professionalism, trust, credibility, demonstrate effective listening skills. These are very general things which I don't think I need to tell you guys. You might be aware of this. Listening skills is an important thing. A client should have effective listening skills, which we'll be covering in the coming chapter. So there are several techniques for doing the effective listening. A client should be very much aware of that, and that is basically responsible for building the rapport between the trainer and the client. And second, that is responsible for building the trust. Okay, so make a note of this effective listening thing. Now the last section of this chapter has come. It is how the trainer can build adherence. So there are four factors by which they can build their motivation and adherence in their client. The first is program design. How good you are creating their program. Okay, how well do you know your client? How well have you done your assessments? Okay, so you have to take all those things into consideration, like their medical history, their exercise history, their likings, whatever whatever information you have to dig in. You have to take all those information in the initial rounds of interviews and assessment. Based on that, you have to design a very good, nice, balanced program design for the client. Second is role clarity. Role clarity is implemented by the use of behavioral contracts and written documents, in which you clearly mention this document is written in the presence of both trainer and client, and you clearly mention the role of yours and the client during the entire session, during their entire journey, what is expected from them and what is expected from you. Then comes goal setting. Goal setting is like you have to create SMART goals, that is specific, measurable, achievable, time bound. Those goals, they should not be very kind of non-realistic and too many in number. So those should be, you have to set up short goals as well as long goals. You have to revisit the goals on regular interval. This is an important thing to consider while it is for your practice, that most of the time you'll see that client have stopped coming to the gym due to some travel or some family plans or some of the other reason. Okay, so that is called relapse. So you have to prepare for that relapse in advance, and this is something which is a very very general thing which you are going to see in your career. So revisiting goal is like, for example, if they are having some family function or if just some holiday season has come, after that they're coming back to the gym with increased weight. Okay, they have put on some weight like 5 lb or maybe 10 lb. So you have to revisit the entire sheet and you have to revisit the goals. And the last is contracts and agreement. So contracts and agreement, as I said earlier, like behavioral contracts and written agreements, in which we both are bound by the document. So that helps to increase the adherence and motivation. So yep, so that's it. This chapter has come to the end, and I covered everything in my notes. Yep. So that's it. This chapter has ended now. It was a small chapter, and now we'll be meeting in the next video with chapter 3. I hope this information was helpful to you. You can write down if you have any queries here on YouTube or on Instagram. I'm available on Instagram with the name Religiously Fit. So I'm always there to help. Thank you very much for watching the video. Thank you.